Admiral Kira Chun stood on the bridge of the U.S. Defiance, her eyes fixed on the holographic display before her. The numbers were not good. 300 enemy warships had just dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system. The Zarvokian Imperial fleet had finally come to claim Earth, and they had brought enough firepower to turn entire planets into dust. "Admiral, we have confirmation," said Lieutenant Torres, his voice tight with barely controlled fear. 312 capital ships. 47 are Dreadnought class. The rest are heavy cruisers and destroyers. Kira nodded slowly. She had expected this day would come. The Zarvokian Empire had conquered over 2,000 star systems. They had never lost a war. Their fleets were legendary, their weapons powerful beyond imagination. And now they had come for humanity. The human fleet numbered exactly 23 ships. "Open a channel to all vessels," Kira ordered calmly. The communication officer complied, and suddenly Kira's face appeared on every screen across the human fleet. 23 crews watched their admiral with a mixture of fear and hope. "This is Admiral Chun," she began. "You all know why we are here. The Zarvokian Empire believes they can take our home. They believe their numbers make them unstoppable. They have looked at our fleet and laughed. They called us pathetic. They said our fleet was small." She paused, letting those words sink in. But what they do not understand is something that humanity learned long ago. Size is not everything. It never was. We did not survive on Earth by being the biggest or the strongest. We survived because we were clever. We adapted. We created. We refused to give up. Across the fleet, men and women straightened their backs. Fear was still there, but something else was growing alongside it. Pride. "Today, we show the galaxy what humans can do," Kira continued. "Every ship, every crew member, every weapon system has been designed for one purpose. Not to match them in strength, but to outsmart them. Let them have their numbers. We have something better. We have ingenuity." She cut the transmission and turned to her tactical officer. "Commander Hayes, are the Phantom units ready?" "Yes, Admiral. All 12 Phantom drones are in position throughout the asteroid belt." The Phantom units were humanity's first surprise. They were small, unmanned vessels equipped with advanced holographic projectors and signal emitters. When activated, each one could create the sensor signature of 5 full battleships. The Zarvokians would see their 23 ships suddenly become 83. But that was just the beginning. Grand Admiral Vorath stood on the command deck of his flagship, the Eternal Conquest. He was a massive creature, nearly 3 meters tall, with gray scales covering his body and 4 arms that ended in razor-sharp claws. He had personally conquered 16 star systems for the Empire. Earth would be number 17. "My lord," said his sensor officer, "the human fleet is pathetically small. Only 23 vessels. They cannot possibly hope to resist us." Vorath made a sound that passed for laughter among his kind. "Of course they cannot. These humans are arrogant but foolish. They refused our generous offer of peaceful surrender. Now they will learn what happens to species that defy the Empire. Shall I give the order to advance?" "Yes. All ships. Full speed ahead. Let us crush these insects quickly. I want to be enjoying human wine in their capital city by evening." The massive Zarvokian fleet began to move. 300 ships surged forward like a wall of destruction. Their weapons charged, their shields activated. They were confident. They were powerful. They had never known defeat. They had never faced humans before. As the enemy fleet advanced, Kira watched their formation with careful eyes. The Zarvokians were not stupid. Their formation was solid, their spacing precise. But they were predictable. They had conquered so many worlds using the same tactics that they had stopped innovating. Why change what works? "Activate Phantom units," Kira ordered. Throughout the asteroid belt, 12 small drones came to life. Their holographic projectors hummed with power, and suddenly the darkness of space was filled with ghostly images. Where there had been asteroids, there were now battleships. Sensor readings multiplied. The human fleet of 23 suddenly appeared to be 83 strong. On the Eternal Conquest, alarm bells began to ring. Grand Admiral, sensors are detecting additional enemy vessels. They were hiding in the asteroid belt. Vorith's eyes narrowed. How many? 60 more ships, my lord. Their total force is now over 80 vessels. For a moment, Vorith felt something he had not experienced in centuries. Uncertainty. 80 ships was still far fewer than 300, but it was enough to cause significant damage. Perhaps these humans were not as foolish as he had thought. Adjust formation, he commanded. Spread our forces wider. We will encircle them and crush them from all sides. This was exactly what Kira wanted. They are spreading out, Commander Hayes reported with a hint of satisfaction. Their formation is widening. Perfect, Kira said. Begin Phase 2. All ships, activate stealth systems and move to designated positions. Human ships were small compared to Zarvokian vessels, but their size was intentional. Smaller ships meant better maneuverability. Smaller ships meant advanced stealth technology that could actually work. The human fleet began to disappear from sensors, slipping between the gaps in the spreading Zarvokian formation. Where did they go? Vorith demanded, slamming his fist against his command console. Find them. We cannot locate them, Grand Admiral. Their ships have vanished from our sensors. This was impossible. No species had technology that could hide from Zarvokian sensors. They were the most advanced in the galaxy. Everyone knew this. But the humans had not accepted what everyone knew. They had spent 50 years developing stealth technology that did not just block sensor signals. It absorbed them completely. While the Zarvokian fleet searched desperately for their vanished enemy, 23 human ships moved silently through the chaos. They positioned themselves at precise coordinates that had been calculated months in advance. Every angle, every distance, every timing had been planned for this exact moment. All ships in position, Torres announced. Deploy the web, Kira ordered. From each human ship, small objects launched into space. They looked like nothing important. Simple metal spheres about the size of a basketball. The Zarvokians did not even notice them. Their senses were too busy searching for the missing fleet. The spheres spread out and formed a massive pattern around the Zarvokian fleet. 2,000 small spheres creating an invisible network that surrounded the enemy completely. The web is deployed, Hayes confirmed. Activate it. The spheres came to life. Energy crackled between them, forming a massive electromagnetic field that engulfed the entire Zarvokian fleet. It was not designed to destroy ships. It was designed to do something much more devastating. On the Eternal Conquest, every screen went dark. Every sensor failed. Every communication system died. The most advanced warships in the galaxy were suddenly blind and deaf. What is happening? Vorith roared. Report! Someone report! But no one could report. The electromagnetic pulse had disrupted every electronic system in the fleet. Ships drifted without navigation. Weapons could not aim. Shields fluctuated wildly. 300 warships had become 300 helpless targets. Now, Kira said quietly, all ships, attack. The human fleet decloaked. 23 ships appeared among the confused Zarvokian formation, but these were not ordinary attacks. Each human vessel carried weapons specifically designed to exploit the weaknesses in Zarvokian shield technology. For years, humans had studied captured Zarvokian equipment. They had analyzed every system, every frequency, every power signature. They knew exactly where the shields were strongest. More importantly, they knew exactly where they were weakest. Precision strikes hit the Zarvokian ships at exact points where shield coverage was minimal. Power conduits exploded. Engine cores went critical. Weapon systems overloaded. In the first 60 seconds of combat, 47 Zarvokian ships were destroyed or crippled. Vorath watched in horror as his mighty fleet fell apart around him. He had never seen anything like this. Human ships moved through his formation like shadows, striking and vanishing before his gunners could react. They did not fight like warriors. They fought like assassins. "Get our systems online," he screamed. Now, his engineers worked frantically, but the human web had been designed well. It would take at least 10 minutes to restore full system function. In a space battle, 10 minutes was an eternity. The human fleet continued its assault. They did not waste ammunition. Every shot was calculated for maximum effect. A single human destroyer took down a Zarvokian dreadnought by targeting its main reactor with surgical precision. The massive ship exploded, taking 2 nearby cruisers with it. By the time Zarvokian systems began to recover, the damage was catastrophic. 178 ships had been destroyed. Another 63 were too damaged to fight. The remaining ships were scattered and disorganized, their communications still unreliable. And the human fleet had lost only 3 vessels. Vorath stared at his display in disbelief. This was impossible. His fleet had been the largest ever sent to conquer a single world. It should have been unstoppable. But now, more than half his ships were gone, and the humans were still fighting. "Grand Admiral," his communications officer said weakly, "we are receiving a transmission from the human flagship. Put it through." Admiral Chun's face appeared on screen. She looked calm, almost peaceful, like someone who had always known how this battle would end. "Grand Admiral Vorath," she said, "your fleet has been defeated. You can continue fighting and lose every ship you have left, or you can withdraw. The choice is yours." Vorath's claws dug into his command console, leaving deep scratches in the metal. His pride demanded that he fight to the death. But he was also a survivor. He had not lived this long by being stupid. "This is not over, human," he growled. "The Empire will send 1,000 ships next time." Kira smiled. It was not a friendly smile. "Then we will build more webs. We will create new weapons you have never imagined. We will adapt and overcome whatever you send. That is what humans do. We do not need the biggest fleet. We never did." She leaned forward slightly. "Go home, Grand Admiral. Tell your Emperor what happened here today. Tell him that Earth is not for sale. Tell him that if he wants our world, he will have to pay a price so high that even his empire cannot afford it." The transmission ended. Vorath stood in silence for a long moment. Then he gave the order that no Zarvokian commander had ever given before. "All remaining ships retreat. We are leaving this system." On the bridge of the Defiance, the crew erupted in cheers. They had done the impossible. 23 ships had defeated 300. David had slain Goliath once again. Kira did not celebrate. She watched the retreating enemy fleet with thoughtful eyes. This war was not over. It was just beginning. The Empire would return with more ships, better prepared, and desperate for revenge. But humanity would be ready. They always were. She turned to her crew and allowed herself a small smile. "Good work, everyone. Let us go home." The human fleet regrouped and began the journey back to Earth. Behind them, the wreckage of the once mighty Zarvokian armada drifted among the asteroids. A reminder to the galaxy that size was not everything. Sometimes the smallest warrior carried the sharpest sword. And humanity had been sharpening theirs for a very long time.